All right. Well, hello everyone, and welcome to Nisa's webinar with our four master flower photographers, Mike, Jackie, Andrea, and Kathleen. I'm Allie Sheehan, and I work for the Madeline Island School of the Arts. I'm excited for this webinar to dive into the images that were submitted for our image review webinar. So thank you all for being here with us today. Before I hand over this webinar to our four photographers, I would like to share a little bit with you about our MISA flagship campus, where their workshop will be taking place. Let's get going here. All right. So Madeline Island is our flagship campus, nestled in the pristine beauty of Lake Superior. Madeline Island is a place of inspiration where the natural world and creative spirits come together. As the largest of the Apostle Islands, it offers breathtaking shorelines, lush forests, and of course, the beautiful lupin and flower fields. With a charming small town and local shops, galleries, and cozy cafes, Madeline Island offers both adventure and tranquility. Simply enjoy the island's slower pace. Of course, you're on island time. A visit to Madeline Island is more than a getaway. It is an experience that stays with you, inspiring creativity and connection, and a deeper appreciation for the natural world. Mike, Jackie, Andrea, and Kathleen are hosting a creative flower photography workshop here on Madeline Island this June. We hope that you'll join us at peak lupin season, June 15th through the 19th on Madeline Island. As time permits, we will have question and answer throughout the presentation. Each instructor is going to review a batch of submitted photos, as well as talk through their edited photos that they took from your images and edited them to give them a little bit more, or to dive into them. So after each teacher reviews their batch of photos, we'll ask questions to them for those, as well as at the end we'll ask any questions too. So put your questions in the chat box, and we'll get to as many as possible. And without further delay, let's review these amazing submitted images. Jackie, I'm going to pass it over to you.
Okay, fantastic. Thank you so much, Allie. And thank you all for not only being here today, but for submitting your images. So today, it's all about you. And what we want to do is just give you a little taste for what it's like when you come to Madeline Island and we have image review sessions. So let's go ahead and begin. This is a beautiful photo of a tulip that's in all her glory by Amber Edwards. I love the colors in this amber. And what I did to it here was just crop it a little bit differently, just because if you look at the side-by-side comparison, you may notice that the flower is taking up the lower half of the image. And there's just beautiful color in the upper part, but it's not really allowing the spotlight to go right on the main subject. So by cropping it and pulling it in up a little bit from the bottom and down from the top, it allows her to shine a little bit more. And I also hope you note that I tilted it slightly. So just a little bit to the right. Thank you very much, Amber. Anne, this looks lovely. I don't know if you did a shoot through with a crystal wand or something else, but it does look like you shot through something that's got some kind of a prismatic effect. It's beautiful. And before you go to the next one, I just want to continue here and say that I want you just to notice the difference between the left half of the image and the right half of the image. So on the left, you have all that beautiful prismatic effect coming in with the light and those other colors. And it could be purple petals. It could be from a crystal wand. Yes, okay, I see in your comments a crystal wand. That's what I thought. It's beautiful, but it's not on the right. So to create some harmony, I would have held up two wands perhaps, so that you have some kind of synchronicity in the image there. So the right half is just a nice orange color. Okay, so I'm going to just say I would ignore that a little bit for now. I would like to see a little bit more focus in the center, biased away from me. So you can probably do that in post processing on the center of the flower, where it goes, it shifts quite abruptly from the part that's not behind the wand to the part that is behind the wand. So I would say right around the center circle, I would love to see more focus. Ronnie, a crystal wand is one of the Lens Baby, it's from their oh gosh, I'm going blank. It's a system where you hold things up or you can put them on a magnet around your lens and shoot through them. The Omni, it's called an Omni system. And I don't use it that much anymore. I'll see you soon, Ronnie, and I can explain more to you, but they're nice gadgets that you can use. But it just gives you an interesting shoot through effect. So what I really want to say before you move to the next one is that just the same as with the last image with the tulip, a good portion of this, almost half of it, is not taken up by the subject. So you have a lot of what I would consider to be negative space with beautiful colors and patterns in it. Do we need that? Does it add to the subject, to the image? And I would say it's beautiful negative space depending on what you're going to use this image for. If you're going to put any text or poetry on the left-hand side, then by all means keep it. If you like that space for the flower to breathe into, that's your choice. For me, I would, if it's a standalone image and I'm going to put a frame around it, in addition to sharpening the inner circle, the back side of the inner circle, I would crop it to a square or an 8 by 10 crop, 8 by 10, just so that again, the flower is the main subject. And you can see the side by side here. Okay, thank you, Anne. Next is a beautiful image, nice setup by Arlene. Hi, Arlene, in South Africa. I think you did a lovely job with your lighting, with your setup. Everything looks gorgeous in this. Very nice. And I love this, Dick. You did a lovely job. It looks like a shoot through. And I would just say that that little bit of plant coming in the lower left is lovely. I absolutely adore it when things like that happen. It's magic. However, I probably would have shifted myself a little bit to the left so that it wasn't quite on the edge. Okay, I feel like it's falling out of the frame and I want it to be a little bit closer to the main subject. So just would have been great. I don't know what that would have done. It needs to be a little bit closer into the frame. I put this into a crop with a crop overlay on it, and the flower, the poppy itself, falls perfectly into the rule of thirds. So I think the flower is absolutely perfect. Um, just a little perspective shift, and it's great. Thank you, Dick. Okay, Gary, beautiful. I'm gonna just make a comment about this because and also mention that it pertains to a few of the other images. The black in this, the shadow area, is void of information for the most part, in the way it appears. So just note that if that's what you want, then that's great. Um, I think that you could pull out a little bit more detail in the dark areas or just leave it black. So I just did a little bit to it and I did some adjustments to the color just for fun. And I have a couple of examples to show you. I love black and white. So I think you did a great job. So what I wanted to note also is that I didn't only adjust the color, I adjusted the crop. I felt like there was a little bit, it was a little heavy on the left dark side to the side and to the top. So I shifted your center up and to the left by removing some of the side and top. But I think it's lovely. So just to take it slightly off center. I would have gone more off center. However, this petal on the left, I didn't want to cut off the tip. So I went as far as I could without hitting the outer border. Okay, so you note the difference between the left to the petal edge on the original versus the two edited images. Thank you, Gary. Beautiful. Ice iris, Irene. Very, very nice. I have just a couple of comments on this one. One, I would probably straighten the stem. It's a little bit tilted to the left. This is just one of my own little pet peeves on occasion. And I probably would crop this because there's such beautiful detail that is lost on the viewer because I'm not immersed in it. So let me just share with you the crop on this so that the viewer has no choice but to appreciate the beauty of the ice around your iris and side by side. And you'll note that I straightened it. Okay, great. Thank you, Irene. And John, it's a lovely image. And again, I will say what I mentioned before, that this has some areas absolutely void of information. I did look at this in Lightroom and I can see that you have information. So it was obviously an intentional choice and that's fine. Um, these flowers, camellias, are very, very hard to photograph because it's hard to get a nice clean background if you're going to do selective focus because the leaves are so dark. So I think you made a good choice to go black with it. So I just want to say that they are void of information the way it's edited. The only thing that I think I would change is this bud up at the upper right. I would probably, yes, I would fix that. There's a couple of two or three or four aberrations on that I think I would work on. It just, you don't want anything to detract from your subject. Great. Thank you, John. And Marcia, a very nice tulip. I, I think that a couple of things on this one, and I don't think this is an editing something that you can really adjust, but I would love to see what it would look like if this stem entered it or shot at a different angle because in the angle that it was shot, the stem enters the flower in an area that I kind of want to move it a little bit. So I'm sure you didn't do that in post processing. I'm sure the flower grew this way. So I think I'd probably like to see this from a different vantage point. And I probably would prefer seeing it without the petals at the bottom because it's drawing my eye away from the subject. Okay, if the petals were up higher and they added to the subject, then it would be great. So just ask yourself if it doesn't add to the story, the subject, then maybe it needs to come out and go for that simple, streamlined perspective. So the viewer has no choice but to follow your storyline. Michelle, this is lovely. It looks like it was photographed with a Helios. And when you have such bright light in the background or in the foreground, it's going to detract. The dynamic range here is extreme from the areas that are in shade to the areas that are in the sun. So it's creating a tension that is totally removed from your sweet little snowdrop. So I think it's what you're going for is absolutely lovely. I would love to see this closer up and where the leaves are not so in focus. I'd love to see all those crocus and other leaves down at the bottom way more out of focus. So you'd have to come in closer to your subject and potentially use an extension tube or a, a stronger extension tube. And then the other things that I would probably do are to remove the upper left and right dark areas. So I would tamp down the brightness in all of the high luminance areas and I would remove those sides. So you can see that in the next image. Thank you. Appreciate it, Michelle. Uh, Pamela, uh, lovely. And I also will say that there's a lot of black here, which is void of detail. I'm okay with the way it was edited. I could see in Lightroom that this was photographed indoors, and at least it looks like it was indoors. There's an object in the upper left area, so I couldn't edit it because it was it was just it actually had information back there, so it would have had to go into Photoshop. But what I really tried to do, and I also was limited because it was a smaller file size, is to bring up the dark areas. So the black in the background is fine, but your shadows are so dark that they're creating a very harsh edge on your flowers. It's a single bright light directed right at the subject. So you want to diffuse your light, and it's probably best if you have more than one light source and both of them diffused and not necessarily um, at the same strength. So you can maybe one a little bit closer, one a little bit farther away, but both diffused and spread out even those dark shaded areas here. And if you look at the stem, there's some areas where goes into total blackness. So it completely separates the stem in some areas down here in the lower underneath the brightest bud. And then there is a stem that you can't see here, which I would have retained from your darkening the background to the smaller of the blooms. There's a little stem between them, but it's totally dark. So I would be very careful when you're lighting your subject in the photography portion of this, and then when you're editing and you're creating something black, try to keep it off of your subject, the darkening effect. Okay, next. Peggy, beautiful, very nice. I love the texture. I love the color, beautiful harmony. A lot of activity and energy going on. Nice artistic image, Peggy. Thank you. Sue, you have a still life, and it's lovely. Uh, you got a lot of different flowers here, and that's just something I would say is probably best to simplify. Um, I would look for the flowers that are in the best condition, where the stems are not bent, and then put just look at the colors and keep a simple color palette. Okay, unless you want a rainbow of colors, a nice plethora of colors. So I would probably tighten this up in the arrangement. Spend a lot of time, more time than you probably think is necessary in building your arrangement. It's not easy, even just to put flowers in a vase to create something that's going to look beautiful. So think about the condition of the flowers, the length, the condition of the stems, the color of the flowers, and the overall shape. Okay, I would say start with a bud vase and one single flower, then add another flower and maybe three flowers. When you're filling a vase this size, it's going to require either few big blooms or a lot of small blooms. So think about the creation of this. And also the bottom could use a little bit more space below your vase, lovely vase, and the background. Uh, I tried to work a little bit with the background. It's a little. It could be a little cooler, the temperature of it. So and then the surface that it's on, I'm not sure what it is or what was changed in post-processing, but I'll show you what I did just so that it looks a little bit like it's sitting on a hard surface. So on this one, it's best if you look at them side by side so we can go straight to that. So you can see the difference in temperature of the color in the background and the table. I kind of created a table, grounds it, and I added a little bit more space under the vase. I brightened up the vase, brightened up your flowers, changed the color temperature, and removed quite a few flowers. I apologize, But if you look, just take a moment and look at what's in one that is not in the other. And you've got a hole right here, so I would fill that. And I would probably remove that yellow flower up there that's creating tension. Um, but I think it's a great start, and kudos to you for doing what is one of the hardest things, which is to create an arrangement indoors and photograph it inside. Thank you, Sue. Okay, so if anyone has any questions, I'd be happy to answer.
Looks like some came through, but you answered them as they came in. Anyone else have any other questions for Jackie's photo? Thank you, Jackie. That was great. I was watching through. It's amazing how those tiny little details can change with one little thing.
Thank you all. Appreciate it. Thank you for having me here. I'm going to go off right now. I will be here, but you're not going to see my face for the remainder of the session.
Sounds good. Thank you,
Okay.
Jackie.
Yes, thank you all so much. Bye-bye.
All right, Andrea, let's dive into yours.
Yes, thank you. Hi, everyone. I'm very happy you're all here, and I'm from the Netherlands for some people who come in later. And wow, Jackie did a great job. And I have to be honest, I'm not a person who does a lot of post-processing. I'm very, very simple because I want to do it in the field. So for me, it's a challenge, but hopefully I can explain what I wanted to create with it. And so let's start. Go with the nice, beautiful pictures. Yes, Pamela. Yeah, I love this picture and the beautiful soft colors, beautiful flower. And I don't think it looks like what I like about it too is that it looks like there is a reflection that is laying on something, but I do think it's not really a reflection. But the thought of it, I really loved it. And I like also the crop you made of it and the nice texture around it. It's beautiful. You can make it a cover from the magazine. Yes, thank you, Pamela. Beautiful. And Ellen, thank you for sending these pictures. To me, this was really like a watercolor feeling. It's also an amaryllis, and I love the light in the pictures. And I just saw I do see it now. The edge on the right side, I would have taken away a little bit gray, so it's really going into the white background. But I love the light, I love the feeling, and I wouldn't change anything for the rest. Beautiful. Yeah, thank you. Nice text. Yeah, really water feeling, soft tones. Yes, thank you, Ellen. Beautiful. And Barry, you not only send a wonderful picture, but also a beautiful, like a poem to it. So maybe it's nice to read from whom we are. Personalities vary. Yes, they do. The many shades of gray, they are just as many songs sung during the choruses of our lives, all contributing to our everyday experience. Be you conspicuously dramatic or unremarkable modest, your song is heard by those around you, loud or quiet. It is a wonderful song filled with joy and maybe some tear as well. Well, I think it's a beautiful combination, and the light in the picture is really glowing against the dark. And I think, yes, it's really good. It's really a soft focus. This is really working well with bright colors to a darker background, in my opinion. So I think it's beautiful. Also, the light shade. Maybe I would at the top leave a little bit more space so it's not almost cut off at the top. But I love it. Yes, thank you, Barry. Hi, Carl. And this image for me was a challenge to show you what I wanted to do. Because for me, this is a beautiful, beautiful flower with the light bright in it, but also the greens and the blues are very distracting. They take my eye away from the flower, and especially also the blue at the top, and maybe you wanted to make it more imbalanced, to add some blue from the left corner to the top and left it there. But probably I tried to tone down the down part with the green and the blue, and I tried to take away the blue. I would have done that so only the flowers standing out. And also you see, I think maybe you can best show by going to the next picture. What I did was, yes, I took some things away, so there's more attention to this beautiful, I don't know the name anymore at this moment, but yeah, now you can see the difference. Of course, at the top should have been better, but that's not my my specialty. And well, I hope you know what I meant with it. So I really think the flower deserves more attention. So a little bit, yeah, toning down all the bright colors around it and take away the distracted colors at the top. And I think actually in the field, how I try to do it is take it away already. If I see it in my frame, I will try to avoid those colors or make it all the way in the background. So it's more in balance and a little bit more ease and more quiet. So, but I think it's lovely how you played. Oh, I think you played something with a light in it, which make it very stand out. Beautiful. Thank you, Carl. Hi, Karen. And this is really an artistic one. And I think it's very nice to play with it. It still has a soft background and it's really graphical. But because it's graphical, I was playing with it. And I think when you take away the part in the corner, it stands out more. And then it's really the focus on the texture you make with it. So you can see it in the next picture that I take it away, and I think it's now what you're trying to do with the texture is coming out more now. So hopefully I try to do it, and I also liked a little bit the purple color in it too. So I don't want to made it all the green, and I like one is coming out of the flower. So and that makes it a little bit in balance still for me, but the other part I would remove. Yes, thank you. Hi Lee, and I love the feeling of the picture, and almost looks like it's on the water, but a lot of it's happening, and especially in the left area. And there are the brighter colors, and it's the yellow picture is for me it's looking out of the frame, and especially in a part where it's even very crowded, and on the left there is already more brightness and the color is getting out of it. So I was trying to make some crops with it, and I started to take out on the right part at the top the green, and then I tried to turn it around. If it, I think it's a different. I made it different. Maybe I sent the wrong one, but I just make a crop in a square or something to make it more feeling imbalanced. And I really like when it's very abstract, and my attention was very drawn to the purple. So probably when I was shooting, I would go to the purple, and purple with yellow is really beautiful. So when I would have been there on the spot, probably I was trying to take the purple with the yellow behind it, for example, but I try to avoid all of it because all of them are very nice flowers, but now everything is taking the attention away, and my eyes keep on wandering. So it's not easy for me, but I think the right one is already enough for me to have in the frame. So hopefully you can do something with this. But yes, I like the overall feeling and what you did with the high key in it. So thank you, Lee. Yes. Hi, Marianne. I love the bright colors, the graphical I like that it's a frame around and it's still in one spot. For me, it's still a little bit open. And that's what I like about frames, that it's not all around. So it's a little bit, yeah, it's a little bit air on one side. But I do think everything is one to the left. So all your eyes going into the frame, the beautiful stripes in the background from like a palm tree. And of course, the color combinations, it really popping out, the little red and the white in the bright green. So yes, I like it. I like the end. Even though I'm very much of a very soft focus person, I like all the details and that everything is in focus in this one. So thank you. It's beautiful. Hi, Nancy. And let me see. Oh, I can't make it. I did not do anything because I love the flower. The only thing what I should have done is leave the ice. I think it's in ice, and I love it when you have the ice texture. Maybe it was not sharp enough because you took it away. I don't know, but that's the only thing I was missing. I think it looks like there is a stem still now, but it's very out of focus and it's really only a little bit of the ice. But the thing is, when you put something in ice, I think it adds something when the ice is also really there. And I'm not I have never done this, so I don't know if it. I think it's hard, and I know Kathleen does a lot with this. So yes, but for me, the flower and the details, and maybe because everything is taken away around it, maybe I should take a crop a little bit more, because the details in the flower with the eyes is wonderful to see. But if you take, there is no stem, so I found it very hard to crop it because I was missing a stem. So I don't know why the eyes was taken away. Maybe more to make it more artistic. But yes, for me, I think it was adding something when you kept it. But I think it was really well done with the sharpness on the flower, the colors and the little icy on the flowers are very good when you can blow it up. Beautiful. Thank you. This one was very small, so it was hard to see. And I think it's lovely. I like the diagonal. I like the out of focus part, the shades in the flower. The only thing I did with it, make the white a little bit wider. So a little bit, and when you see them next to each other. So if you go to, yeah, it's just a little bit, but it's popping out a little bit more. The green I just gave it a little bit more contrast and the highlights a little bit more. And I think also the whites a little, just a little bit. So you have a little bit more yellow. It's getting more yellow, fresher, more green, a little bit more. And but I love it. Yes, beautiful feeling, softness, dreamy like. Thank you. Yeah, what can I say about this one? It's beautiful. I think it's very nice focus on the middle and the center of the flower. Maybe I would kept a little bit because I like the flower, so I like also the cropping, but I was curious how it was with the total, if there were also the flower petals were totally in piece. And I also was looking at the little flower, the bulb. How do you call it also? But anyway, when I make it brighter, it was taking the attention away from the beautiful rose. So I think you did a great job with toning down the surrounding and making a little bit highlight, I think, in the center. And it's a beautiful rose anyway. It's wonderful. Thank you. Shelly, yeah, I think it's beautiful. The soft colors, the surrounding. It looks like me it's also done with something like a crystal in the background. Maybe it's just the surrounding, and I think you did a nice job. That's coming out of the out of the unsharpness and beautiful pastel colors. I did try to see what's happening if there was a little bit more contrast. What was happening with the background below? on the ground, the purple, if it's getting more purple, but takes the attention away from the flower. And I think it's beautiful how you kept the light very nice, even though there's really sun on it. And you see the nice details on the petal and the nice green part and the beautiful background. I love it. Yes, thank you. Hi, Sylvia. I could not see if it just was flowing on the water or it was ice, but there are some beautiful details with the bubbles of water, but a lot of it is happening, and it looks like me that there was also a little bit texture on the top. I don't know where exactly I'm looking at, but I was my attention was going also through the whole picture. And I especially like the white is popping out so much. But I think the right side is taking away attention from the main flower, which is beautiful in with the red on it. And also this part has those beautiful bubbles. So I cropped it in two ways, I think, to give all the attention to the flower and also to the bubbles. So I made a square, and I looked for it if I made it a little bit more close and really make it only this flower and all the bubbles. But when you take the right side, you miss the part on the right top, what I love very much, those water bubbles. So and probably I'm very curious what it is, if it's floating or if it's in ice and some is already defrosting or something. But I like the warm colors. It's really like, for me, it has a bohemian feeling, and that's what I really like about it. And but I do think you can make it a little bit more in focus on the light flower. And I'm sure Jackie or Kathleen can do a great job with this to make it stand out more. But I hope you know what I meant with it. And yes. Very artistic. It's very, I like the artistic feeling of it. And it's like old masters just painting the colors and everything. Yes, thank you, Sylvia.
All right. Thank you, Andrea. Does anyone have any questions? Doesn't look like any came in the chat box, but feel free to put any questions you have for any of the slides or any of the photographers, and we'll get to them as we come. But thank you, Andrea. We'll go ahead and go with Kathleen.
Okay. Hi, everybody. Thank you for submitting images. I mean, it can be hard to do, right? Putting your work out there. And I appreciate that you trust us to give you some honest reviews on your work. I mean, we couldn't do this without your input. So thank you. Thank you all for that. So let's have a look at the first image. Okay, and I don't know if that's AI or Al, but I think that you did a really, really nice job going full frame here. I mean, there's only a tiny bit of background in the upper left showing. Also, you did a wonderful job front lighting this. I mean, you definitely needed the light to come from the front. You don't want side lighting. And a lot of times when I see these images, if people don't get light into the center, there's kind of a black hole or a donut effect. Well, there's no donut here. You've got detail on all of those tiny little blossoms. I think that looks great. The flower's starting to age a bit. And I love a really aged flower and I love a fresh flower, but it's kind of those teenage years in between that I would be tempted to clean up a little bit. So I went in and I filled in that little green triangle and I just cleaned up, not all, but most of the age of it. I left a wee bit, and that's basically all I did. You know, it was a 20-second edit. Because you did a beautiful job with your light, your composition, your focus placement, and your aperture all worked really well. And thank you, Dee Dee. I love this. Orchids are tough, really tough. They're a complicated flower and they don't always, well, they don't grow singularly by themselves so that you can get a simple background, and often there are stakes holding them up and clips holding them up. So it looks like you did some shooting through or added a colored vignette. And what they did was push the background flowers further into the background so that your subject could pop. And it really does. It's well exposed. Focus is well placed. I think this is really lovely, and I would not change a thing. Thank you, Dee Dee. And Faye, hi Faye, I miss you. I think this is fabulous. So there's a couple of different things going on here for me. I see personification in my images often, and I see shelter here. I feel like that leaf is sheltering the tulip as it comes of age. But in the back, you've got the crossed leaves forming an X, which is a whole different story for me of protection in the background. You can't look away. And if you picture that without the X, I think it wouldn't be as intense for me. So beautiful lighting, absolutely nailed your focus. There's beautiful texture in the bud, and we just get a little sneak peek of what color this flower is going to be. You know, it's mostly all different beautiful shades of green. And then there's just that hint of pink, which is just takes it over the edge for me, Faye. I love it. Well done. And Georgette, I think you did a really good job handling a really bold color, Georgette. You know, anything that is a strong red or has a strong red in it, like a purple, can easily blow out. On my screen. It does not look blown out. I love the painterly look to your background, and green and purple are wonderful colors together. The only thing I would change here is that it looks like you put a white vignette around the edges. And for me, and maybe this is just a personal thing, a white vignette pulls my eye out and away from my subject. So I went in and made that a green vignette instead. And if you look at them together, I think your eye stays more on the flower now than it did with the white vignette. And all I did to do that was just sample a color from the background and paint the color at a low opacity on a new layer wherever I wanted it. If you have Nik filters, there's also a vignette filter in Color Effects that allows you to do this if you're not comfortable just doing it manually. But I think it's so much stronger this way. Okay, and Jeffrey. This probably Andrea should have gotten this one, because this just has, I see her influence in this photo. Sorry, Andrea, I should have seen that you were going to get this one. I love the color shift here. You know, that aqua blue in the background and that burnt orange. And it's just so unusual. You took a simple sunflower and playing around with colors. I think you made it just so artistic and wonderful. And it's a good lesson. It's okay to play. It's just a little color. You know, play around. You can have the natural look, or you can play a little bit. And Jeffrey, I'm really glad you chose to play. Wonderful lighting on the center of the sunflower too. And Joanna, there's a dance going on here, Joanna. You caught these two Rudbeckia dancing. And, you know, I love when I can catch a flower dancing. And what does that mean? Generally speaking, there are outstretched petals and there's some blur. And the blur signifies movement. And you've definitely got that blur in that foreground area. Those petals are moving, but then you've got tack sharp focus in the crown in the center of the main flower. You've also added a texture that goes brilliantly with the colors in your subject, and you've masked it off that center area where you did focus, and that makes it pop even more. We should be hearing music playing when we look at this one. Well done, Joanna. And Carrie, I love the color combination here between that blue and the orange in your dahlias. I mean, dahlias are my favorite flower. So yeah, I have a prejudice toward that anyway. But I think you did a great job choosing a vase to put them in. I like the contrast in colors and that painterly background, whether it was, you shot this in front of a painterly texture or you added it after, doesn't matter. I think it finishes your subject beautifully. I'm not crazy about the wood edge at the bottom. I would probably darken that up a bit and about the dark part of the vase. So I have a couple of ideas about that. If this vase is a family heirloom and you love it, leave it. If it's not and you're not as attached to it, I might crop up a little below the handle. Okay. The other thing is if you wanted to use this as a card, then don't crop because you could put the text right on that blue and I think it would be beautiful. But either way, I would, you've got kind of a rough wooden edge down there and some little bits of pollen. I would darken that up a little bit. Or if that's a background texture, I might paint a little of the background texture on there. You just don't want the eye to go down there. You want it to stay up on those fabulous, flawless curly dahlias. Beautiful. And Linda, I feel like you caught this flower just starting the day, looking at the sun and welcoming the morning. The colors in the flower are absolutely beautiful, and I love the bokeh in the background. I think this is also really well composed. The only thing I would have done differently for this one is your focus is a little further back. It's kind of on the second row of petals. I would put it on the petal closest to my lens. Get some petal texture there rather than have it the next row back. But either way, I still think it's a beautiful composition and just has a wonderful feel to it. Thank you, Linda. And Olga, what a wonderful example of the fact that you don't have to include the whole flower in your composition, right? Well, where the action is this part of it, where the petals are just starting to open. They're closed at the top. We don't need to see all of that. Beautiful focus on the petal edge, simple background with all those different tones of green. And I think the water drops add an even fresher feel, like when you first go out to the tulips in the morning and you see this. So I think it's wonderful. It wouldn't change anything. Great job, Olga. Thank you. And Richard, I do love a seasonal clash. You kind of have to if you live in Maine. Mike probably gets seasonal clashes where he is too. And by that I mean I get snow on flowers in the fall. I get snow on flowers in the spring, right? It happens. But I do like to capture it because it's different, right? And I think you did a really nice job with that. You've got some beautiful texture in your snow at the bottom and that color contrast of your flower and those wonderful little reflections in the drops are great. The only changes I would make here is to clean up the background a bit. You've got some little maroon photobombers in the upper left, and the snow is a little grayer than I would want to see it. So I took those out with the remove tool and did a levels adjustment, just up the midtones a little bit to brighten your snow just a wee bit. And you want the attention to stay on your subject. You don't want it to go up to that upper left corner. I'm wishing you warmer temperatures, Richard. And me, warmer temperatures. Hi, Sandy. You created such a painterly look here. I'm guessing this is Lens Baby double glass with one of the inserts. Kind of creates that patch look and creates a texture in the background. I think that part of it is really, really pretty. The only thing I would change here, Sandy, is that the main subject in focus doesn't have as much light as the flowers behind it. So I would darken the ones behind it and I would brighten up my main star. Okay. That's like Diana Ross and the Supremes, and you're putting the spotlight on the Supremes. You want Diana to have the spotlight. So brighten her and darken the others. And I did that quickly for you. And the next one, you see the difference? She's brighter, they're a little darker, just a little bit. Okay? You want to keep the attention on her. And Sharon, hello, Sharon. I teach a class called Seeing Deeper, and Sharon, this would be such a beautiful fit for it because this is a gentle shot, and I see mother and child here. I see nurture. Beautiful, beautiful job with that. Compositionally, you've got this really big, hulking pink shape on the right. And when I look at images and elements, I ask myself, does it add? If it doesn't add, it needs to go. That's a Kathleenism that you might have heard me say. So I just went in and did a little crop on that side. And now I think the relationship is even stronger without that big pink area, especially when the whole left side is green. Okay, so you really don't want to have a whole lot of green and a whole lot of pink and put them in the middle. I think that the crop makes your composition stronger, Sharon. Thank you. And it's Mike. Any questions for me?
Oh, that's me. Just a lot of thank yous. Let's see. Yeah, people appreciate your comments. So thank you, Kathleen. And I'm going to pass it over to you, Mike.
Thanks, Sally. And that was a great job by the ladies. They did a really nice job critiquing and a lot of really good images. So I am going to pull up my screen here. All right, so you see it? You guys see my screen?
Yes.
Yes.
Okay, very good. Okay, so this is Brian's image. And if you followed me for a long time, you know that I love full frame images. I like to fill the frame with flowers. And so I really like this image because it covers everything that I like about an image. And one thing that I tend to do a lot of times is pay a lot of attention to my cropping. And I noticed on some of the images that were critiqued, a lot of cropping happened. I'm really, really fanatical about how I crop my images. Now, this image here, I love the image. I love the subject. I love all the details. Did a great job on it. You're going to see in my critiquing, when I look at the left side, I see the distance between this dark color and the edge here. And then I look on the right side and I see a big gap here of the red between this side and the right side. And so what I did was I went in and I just cropped it so that it would bring that right side so that the distance on the right side from the dark area to the edge is pretty close to the same on the left side. It also kind of brought your little stamens and pistils and all that here towards the center more. And I know a lot of people say, well, you should do it off center, because of the rules and all that, but I don't mind centering things. So again, a little heavy on the right side, a little more than I felt that you needed. And so I just cropped it and brought it more in the center and then balanced those dark colors with the edges. Merrick, love this image. I love the two flowers. I like that the flowers are kind of pointing in a little different direction. Top one's kind of pointing up. The other one's kind of pointing to the right side. It looks like you've put a kind of a faded vignette, light colored vignette around the outside, which I like. I've done vignettes a lot of times like that too. Now, I tend to crop everything really tight on my images. So for me, when I look at images, I always look at it and I go, oh, I would have cropped a little tighter. So what I did was I just pulled down basically all around the image and just not a lot of crop, but just brought in a little bit because to me, your two flowers are the main subject. And I always preach to people, I say, hey, if you got a really great subject, why not have it as full in the frame as possible so people's eye go right to it? You can see all that nice detail in that. So again, not a heavy crop, but just brought it in a little bit just to eliminate some of that outside area and also to make your two flowers larger in the frame. But real nice details on the flowers. I like the colors. I actually like that background too. I think it looks pretty cool. And this one here I thought was a really cool image. Looks like a light box image. And I like the layout of them. You got the kind of the pink or the orange over here, and then you got the purple and the orange and the purple, orange and purple. This one right here kind of threw me off. And you've got a gap. You notice every one of them has a gap between each flower. Okay. But when you get here, all of a sudden this one's touching this one here. So I would have probably arranged this more in the center here so that it wasn't touching on either side. And then it would kind of fall in line with all the other flowers, how they're positioned. So there's no touching and there's gaps in between them. So that's the only thing. But other than that, I think it's a really cool image and I like the details that you got. I like the leaves. I love leaves on flowers. And so that would be the only thing I would say is maybe had this moved over a little bit and filled in this area a little more and also had a gap on both sides of it. And this one, I love this flower here. I don't know what kind of flower it is, but it's a pretty cool flower. Now, as I said, I'm weird about cropping. What I do is when I crop is you've got the right side here where the petal is pretty close, and that's okay. I don't mind that size of a crop there. You know, obviously you don't never want the petal tip to touch the edge of the frame. That's a no-no, but you've got a crop there. But what I tend to do is when I'm cropping an image like this, I try to crop it so that whatever gap I have on the right side, like you have over here, the right side, I tend to try to crop the same on the top. I try to crop the same on the left, and I try to crop the same on the bottom. That's just kind of my thing. So what I did was I cropped it, and so the crop is a little more even all the way around rather than, you know, having a little crop on one side and a larger crop on the other side. It just kind of balanced all the crops all the way around. The other thing, if you look at the original image, now you do have little water drops in there. You can't really tell. I blew the image up so I could see there are actually like dewdrops on there, water drops. But up in the upper area right in here, the flower, those are little water drops, but they look like just little white specks to me. And things like that tend to pull my eye. So I did go in and I eliminated those little white specks and cleaned it up. And I'm real fussy about looking through my image and finding any little dark spots or white spots and things like that, and clean it up, make it as pristine as possible. I also like this little stem here. You know, I just think it's kind of cool, that little stem coming in and into the flower there, and it's kind of faded, so it's kind of a mystery there. This one here I think is a beautiful image. I just love the soft look of it, and kind of it reminds me of kind of like a dream, like I'm in a dream looking at it. And it just pulls out some details. Now, I tried my crop on this. You know, as I said, I like to crop tighter. So again, I thought, well, if I crop this a little bit, it might bring the flowers into the frame more and fill the frame more. But I honestly didn't like my crop. You know, this is what I would do normally cropping wise, but I felt the upper flower in the left there was kind of heavy on that side. So I think by having that extra space that you provided over here, I think it balanced a little better than when I tried to crop it like that. And I didn't like my crop as much as I like yours. So I think yours works just fine. I think it worked out really, really well. So great job, Elizabeth. And Susan, sunflowers. I love shooting sunflowers. I have a family farm that's not far from my house that has acreage and acreage of sunflowers, and I love photographing. I also love when they're in this stage where you see like you've got half the flower showing and the other half it's just starting to emerge and open up, and because we see millions of sunflowers where they're fully opened, but I like having that a little bit of the flower kind of exposed and then some of it kind of hidden. So I do like that. So I think it's a great subject. I also like your details. Everything in that center part of the flower, which is always cool, is nice and sharp. And also I do like the lighting on it. It's lit up really nice, and I like the dark vignette. But yet you still have a little bit of highlighting in that background, so you can see there's some, probably some other kind of plants back there or whatever, but dark enough where it really allows your flower to stand out. So I think that came out really well. The only thing I think I did was crop the right side. Notice the right side, there's a little gap there. You got real tiny gaps on the the left side has got a little bigger gap than the right side in the top. And I just cropped in a little bit on the left side. Not a big deal, but just brought it in a little bit. But other than that, I think everything looks great. This one here, Melinda, again, I like you filled the frame with this flower. Now here's the only problem that I have is the white areas that you've allowed those gaps in there where you can see beyond the flower and see that white area back there. Bright areas like that for me, because it's such a contrast from the beautiful colors you have in the flower to that white. It's such a contrast that it tends to pull my eye up there, pulls my eye away from what is the main subject. Okay. So, I think even a black background would have probably been better, would have blended a little better with the darker colors of the flower, but the white really pulls my eye. So I went in and I actually just filled in those gaps with the petals. And so I think that's a little stronger with you don't have those big white areas to pull your eye away from your flower. Also cropped a little bit on the left. I know a lot of people, they think about the rule of thirds and all that. So by bringing a little bit of the crop on the left side, it brought your flower more into that rule of thirds thing. And I don't always follow the rule of thirds myself, but it was just something I thought I would crop and see if it brought it over a little bit into that thirds. But like I said, I think those white areas are the only thing that threw me off is all that white. And it's easy to fill in those areas in Photoshop. Marge, I really, really like this here. I think that's really cool how you've got that set up with that beautiful flower and then the mirroring effect down below. I felt like the flower down below needed to be a little brighter, a little bit too dark. And then also, again, with the cropping, I would have cropped in a little tighter on the left side. So what I did was I brightened up the flower. You see at the bottom there, brighten it up a little bit. And you don't want it real bright because you don't want it to take away from the top flower, which is real nice and bright. And then just brought in a little bit on the left side on the crop. But otherwise, it's a really cool setup, really cool flower. And I love the details, nice and sharp details. It looks really good. Colors are awesome. And this one here, Jack, I think this is an excellent image. I think it's beautiful. The lighting on the bird of paradise flower is just the subject is awesome. I've shot a lot of these down in Florida, and I just never seem to find one that looks like that. Mine are always kind of boring looking, but that's a really cool subject you found. Also, I like the background a lot. The background reminds me like you shot it, like you see these images where people shoot with the Milky Way in the background. It reminds me of a Milky Way back there, okay? And at first, when I saw it, I saw all these little white specks. There's a lot of little white specks all over. Now, I have had images where I have little white specks like that, or maybe black specks or whatever. And I've gone through and I have literally taken a half hour to clone every one of those out. But when I thought about that, the background looking like a Milky Way, I'm thinking those little white specks look like little stars out in the universe. And I thought that's pretty cool. So I don't mind the little white specks on there, but I don't really have any critique of this to help it because I think it's just really great the way it is. And of course, you got to have a lupin shot in there, right? We all got lupins behind us. Yeah, this another image that I don't really have any suggestions. I think it's really good. I like the front one. Of course, the front one is the one you want in focus. This is the front one right here, and that's the one you want in focus. And then you softened really nicely on the one in the background here. And then, of course, as you get into the total background, you've got just a hint of the flowers, the lupins in the background, just adding little shades of color. Probably the only thing that I might have done is I love the leaves that come with the lupin. I think the leaves, I've got so many shots of lupin and I include the leaves. So I would have liked to see a little more of the leaves. You got some leaves down here. I would have probably came down and shot a little bit lower and included some of those leaves in there because I think the leaves in lupin are really, really cool. But other than that, maybe a slight crop off the top I would have done. But other than that, I think it's a great image. So really good. And that is my little critiques.
Thanks so much, Mike.
You are welcome.
All right. Well, if you have any questions for any of our photographers, please put it in the chat box with the Q&A. We did have one question come through, and this is for all of you. But what are your thoughts regarding having a photographer's name directly on the image? And any thoughts on where?
Who wants to go first? Okay, I will.
I didn't.
I don't like it. I do not like it. I just think it takes away from the image. And so I don't care for it.
Yeah, I'm with Mike. I work too hard for my compositions, and for everything in my images is there because I want it there, so I don't want anything to cover it up. And if you're worried about someone stealing your images, all they'd have to do is use the remove tool, and that would be gone
Yep.
in 2 seconds anyway. So
Yep.
it's nothing I ever do.
Yeah.
Andrea, what do you think?
I didn't hear the question because the sound for me is very bad. Sorry.
It's okay.
Can you
What do
write
you,
the question?
Andrea, what do you think about people putting their name on the image itself?
Well, I do it.
I guess
No, I have white. No, now with Instagram, I have white borders around it. But sometimes I do. Yeah, why not?
Okay.
Who cares?
split
I don't
decision.
mind. No, I don't mind. But I do it always in the corner where nothing happens. I don't want to have it anywhere important. No, but
Okay.
in a small little corner, not very. No. Well, I'm not so heavy with those kind of things.
Yeah, absolutely. Let's see. So for your workshop, I'll just throw in a question here for you all. But so your workshop, each day is a little bit different. Students travel around to each of you. So all four, they get to work with all four of you individually. What is something that you want them to know about what your day looks like?
Hmm. I'll start. So last year, we do scouting and we find out where we want to take our groups. And I wanted to put an emphasis on lupin. And so my groups were going to go to the areas on the island with the highest concentrations of lupin that were close to the school. And so I started thinking about all the different ways that you can photograph lupin. And I think that I started by about 10. Well, by the time I started taking my groups, I had 25 different ways that you can photograph lupin. And I'll be doing that again. And who knows how many I'll have by then, because I'll probably come up with something different. But I think it's a good way to look at a single subject in a lot of different ways doing that. So that will be my emphasis on, after you've shot a particular flower, what else could you do? That's what I'll be asking you. How else could you see this? How else could you capture this? What else could we do here?
Perfect. And the great thing about this workshop is that each instructor has their own style and they're all different. And that's the great thing about this workshop is that you get a different perspective and a different idea on how to do for your flower photography. So I'm like Kathleen, I do the lupins, but I'm totally different than the way Kathleen does them. So that's the good thing is that you may be shooting the same flower, but you're shooting in a totally different style. And so my style is more everything in focus, kind of fill in the frame like I was talking about in my critiques in that, and using backgrounds and to avoid all the clutter that we deal with when we're out there shooting. So that's what you do when you're in my day.
And I love to do everything in the field. So for me, it's very important to work with the background, work with another white balance. So yes, you can do it in post-processing, but I don't like that. So I play with those kind of things. So, and you can shoot with every lens. And I really, of course, the subject is very important, but my surrounding is more important. So I will show you how you can look, how you can use your surrounding, how you can use light, how you can use your white balance, and why you can use it. There are more ways why it's important. Sometimes just to do it in the field, and yes, really have fun and experiment, and also let yourself nature surprise you, and don't think about what you want to make, but just explore.
Mhm. And Jackie works with the lens bait, is that correct?
Not only.
No.
Jackie works with color.
Yeah.
Jackie, I don't know anyone who handles color like Jackie does, and she can make an incredible shot over just it's hardly anything. She pays attention to her backgrounds. She'll show you how to make backgrounds while you're in the field shooting. Yeah, so her emphasis is not strictly lens
Yeah.
baby. She does love her 100 to 500, I know, as well. And yeah, you'll learn so much about how to use color when you spend time with Jackie.
Yeah. I also want to point out that on the last day of our workshop, we'll do critiques just like we did today. So the images that you're shooting during the week, we do critiques at the end of the workshop for your images that you shot.
Yep.
Awesome.
Yeah.
Any
We also,
other?
we
Go
also
ahead.
have meals together.
No, no, if
You
I,
know, go ahead. You know, we spend time together, not just out in the field. And I think all of that's important.
Yeah.
Sorry, Andrea.
no. I don't know if I can tell because I also work inside, so I don't know if I can tell something about that
Yeah.
because yes, I know Jackie and Mike and Kathleen are doing one half a day, I think, post processing, but because that's not my kind of thing, I like to do to work abstract. So we're going to work with water and a lot of fun stuff, flowers, everything to make your own magic. And we're going to do that inside with lights and everything, and it's really magical. Yeah, it's totally different. So yeah, that's what also is next to the post processing and the reviews. Yeah.
Absolutely. Yeah. Every day with these photographers is a little bit different. So you get to travel around each of them, and then on the last day is that image review, which is pretty fun to watch and
Yeah.
listen in. And like this webinar, it's fun to see the little nuances and differences between what you see and the instructor sees and maybe someone else in your workshop as well. So really cool.
Definitely.
Any other questions to come through for these? Okay, well, we really appreciate those that submitted photos for this image review. Thank you to our photographers. That was amazing and seriously amazing photos that came through. So thank you so much. And we hope that you'll join Mike, Jackie, Kathleen and Andrea this summer on Madeline Island, June 15th through the 19th. You can visit our website at madelineschool.com for more information. Thanks again for joining us, and hopefully we'll see you soon. Thanks, everyone.
Awesome.
Thank
Thanks,
you,
everybody.
Kathleen. Thank you, Andrea. Thank you,
you.
Mike and Jackie. We will see you all soon.
Thank you. Bye, everybody.
Bye.
you.
Thank you.
Bye.
See ya, Madeline.